You've been waking up with a silent ache, haven't you? Not pain exactly, but a weight that lingers in your chest each morning, like a name you're trying not to say aloud. The angels say, this ache is the echo of a soul remembering another. He misses you. Deeply. In ways he doesn't admit, even to himself. And yet, he carries you. In his thoughts that wander when the world grows quiet. In his longing when he reaches for a calm he can never quite touch. In the way he hesitates to feel joy, because somehow, it doesn't feel whole without you. This isn't just nostalgia. It's recognition. A soul remembering its mirror. God placed you in his path not for a season, but for a soul-turning reason. There are no accidents in sacred meetings. You weren't just a passing presence. You were a divine interruption. A spark in his darkness. A voice his spirit has known before. The angels reveal this. You were sent to awaken him. Not to fix him. Not to chase him. But to reflect back the part of himself he abandoned long ago. And that's why he misses you, not just for who you are, but for who he began to become in your presence. There is purpose in this distance. There is healing in the silence. But let there be no doubt, your light still walks beside him. He tries to distract himself. He fills his days. He avoids your name. But at night, when everything goes still, he remembers. And the ache becomes a prayer. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. The angels ask, do not mistake silence for absence. His soul still calls yours. And heaven still holds space for what was written to return. He doesn't run from you, he runs from the flood you carry. From the truth in your eyes. From the tenderness that sees through his armor. The angels say, this soul has known love before, but never one that touched his shadows. And that's why he recoils. Not because you did something wrong, but because you did something sacred. You saw him. You walked straight into the storm he hides. The guilt. The old wounds. The boy still aching inside the man. He has lived a long time being tolerated, but never fully understood. And then you arrived. With your quiet gaze and your unwavering presence. And suddenly, he couldn't hide anymore. You didn't demand answers. You didn't chase clarity. You simply stayed soft. And that, dear soul, terrified him. Because gentleness is dangerous to the hardened heart. It melts defenses. It stirs memory. It dares someone to believe they could be held, without needing to perform. He carries scars he's never shown. He wears confidence like a mask. But behind it, there's a history of disappointments. And a belief that love always ends in loss. That's the wall. That's the barrier. Not you. Never you. The angels whisper. You touched the wound he never tended. And now he feels everything all at once. He thinks stepping back will silence the ache. That distance might protect him from the pull. But what he's learning is this. Real connection doesn't loosen just because we walk away. And so he stays in the loop, close, then far, then silent again. Not to hurt you, but because he doesn't yet know how to stay without unraveling. The healing you activated is not gentle. It's holy. It's slow. And it begins with chaos. Hold this truth like a bomb. He doesn't fear losing you. He fears being loved by you. Because love like yours is not something he can control. It's something he can only surrender to. You keep asking if he still thinks of you. But the real question is Have you stopped thinking of yourself? The angels lean close and whisper. Your light is not dependent on being chosen. It is born from the divine breath within you. You gave so much. Not out of desperation, no. But from a well so deep, you forgot it needed refilling. You offered presence when he withdrew. You softened when he turned cold. You stayed open in a world that told you to close. But let this truth settle in your heart. Love that asks you to shrink isn't love. Affection that costs you your peace isn't sacred. You are not a lighthouse meant to burn herself to guide someone else. You are a temple, a sanctuary, a holy place that must be honored, especially by you. Yes, he misses you. Yes, your absence is louder than your presence ever was. But this isn't a call to return, it's a call to rise. To return to yourself. To gather the pieces you scattered in his name. To remember that you were whole before he looked your way. The angels urge. Protect your softness. Guard your joy. Water the garden within before inviting anyone to walk its paths. There is healing in distance. There is clarity in silence. And there is power in choosing you. Let this be the season you stop waiting to be claimed. And instead remember, you are sacred. Already claimed by God. Already chosen by light. And when you walk in that knowing, the right ones cannot help but be drawn to you. You do not need to do more. You only need to be. Be the woman whose worth is not measured by someone else's awakening. Be the fire that warms, but never burns herself out. And above all, be the love you've always looked for. First for you. He doesn't avoid you. He avoids himself. When he's with you, you became the mirror he never asked for. Not because you judged, but because you saw. Too clearly. Too deeply. You saw the ache beneath his charm. The weariness in his pride. The child still holding grief in a grown man's posture. The angels whisper. Your eyes became the truth he wasn't ready to face. When you walked into his life, you didn't just offer affection. You offered reflection. You made him feel known. And that kind of knowing can either awaken or unnerve. He chose both. He smiled at your light, then flinched at the shadows it revealed within him. He wanted to be near you, until being near meant being seen. You didn't mean to trigger his wounds. But your very presence asked questions his soul had been avoiding. Why do I fear intimacy? Why do I push away the love I crave? Why do I sabotage softness? This isn't about your flaws. This is about how your purity disturbs the walls he's built. He doesn't hate the mirror. He hates what it reflects when you hold it. And still, he returns. Why? Because a soul cannot forget its awakening. Because no matter how uncomfortable truth is, once tasted, it lingers. You didn't come to heal him. You came to awaken him. And the two are not the same. The angels say, he cannot stop looking for your light, even if it scares him, because it is the only thing that ever made him feel real. You are not the reason for his confusion. You are the catalyst for his clarity. And that is more powerful than you may ever know. There was a night, not long ago, when he stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. He heard your name, not with his ears, but with his soul. And he knew. Something inside him was shifting. The angels reveal. He tried to move on, but your presence keeps returning, in dreams, in signs, in silence. This isn't obsession. It's remembrance. You stirred something eternal in him. Not lust. Not convenience. But truth. At first, he ignored it. He called it coincidence. Labeled it confusion. But the whispers grew louder. That song. That scent. That unexpected moment when a stranger says something only you used to say. These fragments haunt him. Not because they're painful, but because they're sacred. You are his soul's unfinished prayer. And now, the waking begins. It's slow, uneven, like sunlight through a cracked window. He still resists, still rationalizes. But there are moments, just moments, when he lets himself feel. And when he does, your name feels like home. The angels are patient with him. They say, this awakening isn't about speed. It's about surrender. And bit by bit, he is surrendering. Not to you, but to the love he never believed he deserved. He starts to ask questions. What if I was wrong about what love requires? What if I've run from everything that was right for me? He begins to soften. Not in front of you, but in the quiet, where the soul does its deepest work. He starts to want to be better. Not because you asked, but because your love reminded him he could be. And though he may still keep you at arm's length for now, don't mistake that for indifference. He's waking up to the truth of who he is, to the light of what you shared. And when the soul awakens, it can never go back to sleep. He comes close, then vanishes. He whispers tenderness, then turns silent. He leaves and somehow always returns. You wonder, does he care? Or is this just a game? The angels say, this is not a test of your worth. It's a storm inside him. He is not cruel. He is lost. And lost souls do not walk straight lines. There is a part of him that knows. You are the calm. You are the truth. You are the place his soul exhales. But the closer he gets to that truth, the more terrified he becomes of losing it. And so, he pulls back. Again and again. Not because you are too much, but because you are too real. You represent what he thought he would never have. And when a man meets something holy, he either kneels or runs. He runs because he doesn't feel ready, because his wounds still whisper lies, because your love demands his wholeness, and he's still healing. You may feel like a pattern, but in truth, you are a pattern breaker. Every return is his soul trying again. Every silence is his fear begging for safety. The angels urge, release the need to decode his distance. See it instead as proof that the work is being done. He's not gone. He's growing. And growth is messy. If he didn't care, he wouldn't come back. If he were whole, he wouldn't leave. And in this sacred cycle, something greater is unfolding. You are not just a pause in his life. You are the awakening that continuously calls him back. Let go of trying to fix what isn't yours to heal. Let go of the ache to be chosen before he chooses himself. This isn't about him learning to love you. It's about him learning how to receive love without running. The angels are near. They are taking care of what you cannot see. And in this loop, there is a spiral upward. Trust the rhythm. Trust the return. But above all, trust yourself. There is a kind of love that doesn't shout. Yet it rearranges the soul. Yours did that. Not through grand declarations, but in the way you waited without bitterness. In the way your presence didn't demand. It healed. The angels whisper. He never told you, but your love kept him from breaking. You became a safe haven without ever being asked. And still you wonder, did it matter? Yes. More than you could ever know. When he felt unworthy, your gaze said otherwise. When he questioned his path, your calm steadied him. When he hid his fears behind silence, you responded with grace. Your love was not noise. It was medicine. Quiet, consistent, sacred. And though he may have resisted it, he never stopped returning to it. To you. Because your love didn't fix him. It invited him to believe he could heal. It didn't ask him to be more. It reminded him he was already enough. Even now, in your distance, your energy lingers like balm on an old wound. He walks through his days, remembering the way you saw him, not for who he pretended to be, but for who he longed to become. The angels say, this love you gave was not lost. It was planted, and it is growing. You were not foolish to love him. You were faithful to a truth that transcends logic, a soul knowing, a divine assignment. You were sent not to save him, but to soften him. And now, even in your absence, you are still his teacher. He's learning what it means to miss something real, to crave a connection that cannot be replicated. And in that longing, he's discovering how love, true love, was never about being perfect. It was about being present. Your presence, your gentleness, your sacred way of loving. It is the medicine he never knew he needed. And it still works. Even now. Nothing is still. Even silence is movement, in the language of heaven. You've wondered if the universe forgot about you. If the love you felt was a misstep. A beautiful illusion with no end in sight. But the angels say, this is not stagnation. It is sacred alignment. This path, though slow, is guided. There are moments when you feel the pull, not just toward him, but toward something greater, a deeper understanding, a wider love. You didn't choose this connection. It chose you, because your heart was ready, because his soul was calling, and because God, in infinite mystery, orchestrates meetings that the mind cannot explain. You feel like you're waiting, but you're being prepared. He feels distant, but he's being guided. And although it feels like nothing is happening, everything is shifting. The angels are moving mountains in the unseen. They are softening hearts in the quiet. They are weaving divine timing through every thread of longing you carry. You are not abandoned. You are aligned. The ache? It's a sign. The stillness? It's strategy. The delay? It's design. Heaven speaks in pauses. And sometimes, the silence between two souls is where God builds the bridge. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7. You are not where you were, and neither is he. Something sacred is unfolding, not just for love to return, but for love to transform. Let it be slow. Let it be holy. Let it be real. The angels are not just watching, they are guiding. And soon, the path will clear. He wants to love you. He just doesn't know how to let love stay. There's a tenderness within him, soaked in fear, a longing dressed in silence, a hope that trembles every time it comes too close to being real. The angels whisper. He doesn't resist you. He resists being seen in his softest form. And you saw that form. You saw the man behind the armor, the voice behind the charm, the wound beneath the laughter. And in that moment, he froze. Because vulnerability feels like danger to someone who's never been safe in it. He wants to open up, but doesn't know if you'll stay. He wants to reveal himself, but fears he'll unravel in the process. There's a memory in his bones. Of abandonment, maybe. Of being too much or not enough. Of love given, then taken away. Of trust shattered in hands that once felt warm. And so now, when he feels you getting close, his instincts scream retreat. Not because he doubts you, but because his past still echoes louder than his present. You, dear soul, are the first to make him feel safe enough to even consider staying open. But it will take time, patience, and a heart that knows the difference between holding space and losing itself. The angels say, do not shrink to make him feel bigger. Do not dim to make him feel ready. His vulnerability is sacred, but so is yours. And though he wrestles in silence, his soul is watching, learning, preparing. There will come a moment, not today, maybe not soon, when he chooses to speak, to open up, to risk. And when that moment comes, you won't need to ask if it's real. You'll feel it. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. He may never become the man you envisioned. Not in time. Not in the way your heart once hoped. And yet, he was never meant to complete you. Only to awaken what was sleeping inside you. The angels speak gently now. Some loves come to stay. Others come to shift the soul. You didn't fail. You didn't love too much. You loved fully, and that is your triumph. Even now, even in silence, your love has shaped him, marked him, changed him. He walks through his life with a part of you stitched into his quiet, not as a wound, but as a remembrance of what was true. And now, it is time to release him, not in bitterness, not in defeat, but in reverence. Because when you love someone's soul, you don't chain it, you bless it, and you let it fly. This isn't letting go of hope. It's letting go of control. It's trusting that what is yours by design will return, not by force, but by alignment. You are not walking away. You are walking toward yourself. The angels surround you now, gathering every tear, turning it into light. Your worth has never been dependent on being chosen. You were chosen by God long before any man saw you. And what's meant to love you in fullness will not require you to prove, to plead, to wait indefinitely. The right love will not fear your depth. It will meet you in it and rest there. So breathe. Open your palms. Let the wind take what is not meant to stay, because what is yours will rise again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14 verse 14.